So, John White here. Once again, I have the privilege of interviewing Desi Starr.
Hello.
The world famous. And we have a kind of a really cool 10 to be story that we want to share with you. And Desi, if you'd kind of just give a quick overview of when we say 10 to be, what is that and how does that relate to Colorado?
Yeah. Well, it's from Luke 10, chapter 2. Second part would be the B. And a number of us have been praying for a long time. We've been praying this, where Jesus tells us that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, to pray for the Lord to thrust forth laborers into his harvest. And so a number of us have been praying daily with people that he would thrust forth these laborers. And we're praying that he'll thrust forth people that will be ready and motivated, mature, and will know what they're called to do. That it won't be something where we have to twist someone's arm to get them to go and live something out. But people who would say, I am called to be a laborer for his kingdom and then going and living this out. And so as we've been praying, we've come to expect now that God is going to answer that prayer. And so we've seen it again and again, that he answers this prayer. And so I just got an email a week and a half ago or so, a week ago. And from Marshall over here, and we're wondering if this just might be another answer to that prayer.
Very good. Okay, so we're going to interview these three guys and let them tell their story a little bit here. So I'm going to move over here. We'll start with Marshall.
Oh Lord.
We're sitting here in Denver. You can just look at me. This is my finger.
Okay, and your finger.
Yeah. And these guys are from South Carolina. So Marshall, tell us something about how did this happen? You guys from South Carolina feeling like God called you to Colorado, specifically Pueblo, to plant house churches there?
Really long and odd story, so I'll make it short. Basically, God has been really working in my heart on what it truly means to follow him and what he wants his bride to look like in the end. And was reflecting some of these ideas to some of my friends and just felt God was leading us to do something together. And very odd way, I got a random call from Jeff and said, what about Pueblo, Colorado? I was like, where's that? And it's too cold. I like hot weather. But just in prayer and in a lot of confirmations, God just told us, hey, this is it. And they wanted me to tell a little story about how I actually ran into opposition because of this. We had, I was just telling some people about it and told them all the confirmations and ran into opposition and just basically was very discouraged after that conflict. And it was someone that was deeply in my heart and just didn't click with them and didn't believe God was in what we were doing. And it was really funny because the next day I got Relevant Magazine, which actually had a one-page article on a person moving to Colorado to plant an organic church. The very next day I was like, oh God, okay, this is it. Can't argue with that. So I called Jeff and Moore's like, you've got to see this. And so it's just amazing how God can.
And the article was by Desi?
Yes, the article was by Desi. I think Noah's wife wrote it. And it was about Desi and left some, left some websites on there. So I went and checked the websites out and I emailed Desi and told him our story, told him all this, and asked if we could meet them up there because we were planning to come anyway. And so it was really neat to see how God has placed people that's already doing what we dreamt of doing and just being able to learn underneath them and team with them as the church is one.
Very cool. And along with this team is Jeff over here. Actually, three of these guys. So, Jeff, say something about your insights in this whole process.
One thing that stands out to me is you always have to make sure what you're doing is of the Spirit of God. And we had several different types of confirmation that it was. And even leading up to the weeks before, you kind of got it in the back of your mind. Is this really what we're supposed to be doing? And it's so amazing that when Marshall began to contact Desi and how everything just fell into place, it was like it was the perfect time of year and everything just really worked out. And the one thing that stood out to me about what I was telling these guys the other day was, it's amazing when you ask God stuff in prayer and He answers it, but it's a totally different thing when you are the answer to someone else's prayer. So, that's what stood out to me is that, these guys here in Denver have been praying for us, or have been praying about Pueblo and putting a organic simple church there, and here we are. And it's just like a couple weeks later, we're the answer to that prayer, and it's just a really neat thing for God to use you as the answer to prayer.
So you guys are out here kind of scouting the lay of the land, Brandon, and going to go back to South Carolina. It might be a few months before you actually move out here, but what would you like to share on this story?
Well, I'd just like to share, just first of all, how great God is and how powerful He is, because I never thought in a million years that I'd be living, moving to Colorado to especially do work for God. I mean, it's just like, this amazing thing how He just transforms life, and He's like, I make you new, and if you just follow me, everything's okay. And so here we are in Colorado now, visiting and seeing what God's doing and seeing how God's just moved through y'all and seeing what y'all are doing and how He's just using y'all as tools and seeing what we are up against, in Pueblo. I know a couple of people there that's ready for this, but I'm not really sure what else is up there. But I know that in God's hands and in God's time, it's going to be amazing to see what it's going to be. And I can't wait to see what God's going to do.
Great. Thank you, Brandon.
You're welcome.
Great to meet you guys, and just excited about what you're going to do.
It's great to meet y'all because this is really awesome. Like I told y'all earlier, I'm still in awe about all this. I'm just like, wow, and God's big, so this is amazing.
Amen. All right.